All right, everybody, audience, welcome back to the Three Guys, One Mic podcast. But again, we failed on the Three Guys, One Mic thing for the second week in a row because we have four guys on one mic. A little awkward. We have them across the table from us. We're trying to pick up sound. I think we're in a good spot. But we got Chris over here, who is the third guy on the one mic. And then we also have our friend Malachi. So, guys, you guys want to just introduce yourselves and tell the listeners a little bit about who you are?
So I'm Chris here. I know Kody and Mike. Well, or not Mike, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Mark. I'm literally so stupid here. Hey, it's been a long day. I was just moving. Anywho, I've known Kody. Did I say living or moving? I meant moving. My brain is so wrong.
Breathing is so hard.
Oh my goodness. Hop off my schmeat, yo. Anywho. I'm Chris. I'm 22. I'm from Louisiana. I was basically raised there, lived there most of my life. I came out. I roomed with Kody one of my semesters out here at BYUI at Rick's College. He ended up getting married, moving out, working with these two other cucks that we have here with us today. That's the rundown.
All right, Cody. I don't know if I should be offended. He called me Mike, or it's because I said the word Mike like 16 times.
Yeah, that's how my brain went. That's literally how my brain went just then.
I see. Okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
I just think you're a tool, man.
Speaking of tools, we have Malachi over here.
Useful tool.
Speaking of not in the house, he hit me with a text saying his wife hit him with a hard no. He guessed on our podcast, but you know what? He finessed his way. He gave her a little.
You gotta ask your wife permission to be here.
No, bro. He finessed. He gave her a little, little head bob one way and juke the other way. And let's just say now he's here with us. So Malachi, you want to introduce yourself as a special guest?
I've lived in Rexburg for like 5 years or so. RM, typical BYUI. But other than that, I'm pretty baller.
Malachi, I just want you to know and recognize that you gave up hanging out with your wife to sit in a room with three other guys that's hot and sweaty. Just remember that, all right?
Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed.
Okay. Disappointed? Well, hopefully it gets on.
Shout out to Malachi's wife. Hopefully she will be listening to this episode.
Okay,
just for the memes.
Really quick, I want a rundown of why your wife wasn't trying to let you come here. Like, did y'all have plans prior or no?
No.
That's it.
You don't understand how this reasoning works.
I literally don't. That's why I'm trying to understand.
So for the audience, Chris is the only guy right now who isn't married in the room.
Yes, that is true.
So please excuse his ignorance here on this topic.
Yeah, right now at this point, my mom is just hoping that I find anyone. So, I mean, if you find me at like a gay bar, that's how you know I've hit my lowest.
And so this is his official declaration. Anyone with a pulse, leave a comment down below. Also, leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe with your friends. But let's get into the topic today. There's a very special reason we have Malachi here, especially obviously Chris, is because we spent 4th of July together, and this is how we actually came up with this podcast idea. It was just chilling out on 4th of July. So, Kody, do you want to give it a little bit of a rundown, what we're going to be talking about today and whatnot?
Sweet. So it was the 4th of July, and honestly, it was probably the worst 4th of July that I've ever experienced. And there was like a flash fire when I was like a kid on one of my 4th of Julys. And I think someone, I don't know, but everything burned down. It killed a lot of trees in nature. So this is saying something. This is a terrible 4th of July.
Pretty hot.
It was, honestly.
It's like a circus fire.
Honestly, it was crazy. But before I actually go on with
as someone who got hit by a firework, I can testify it was way worse than it.
So a little backstory. I love grilling. I love cooking different types of food on the grill. Ribs, burgers, chicken wings, the whole works. And I love making my special kind of burgers that I do. I usually get a whole bunch of hamburger meat and mix it in with a whole bunch of different spices. And I let it, sit in the fridge because I like to let it marinate with some of my sauces. I don't want to say juices because that's really gross. So I pretty much spent Friday getting everything ready, and then Saturday I spent the rest of the night getting all the patties together and ready for this grill, this barbecue, whatever you want to call it. And man, let me tell you, I was a little pissed off at what happened. I actually don't want to go into because I'm really curious on what you guys actually thought about the whole ordeal and what happened. So I don't know. Maybe someone should. Who's a great storyteller?
So here's the backstory a little bit because Cody's just like really emotional. Obviously,
I am so emotional. I can't even like get my thoughts out straight.
Obviously, look at this. We're explosive on this podcast, just like the 4th of July's fireworks. Topical, relate. We're gonna tie it all back in somehow. But what happened is we kind of had the bright idea of going to like a lake or kind of like a little waterfront kind of thing.
Something
a little
like
sand.
that, yeah.
It's kind of by some sand dunes, so it's like sand, lake. And we were going to grab like a grill and we were just going to barbecue, have a good time. And it ended up being that the guy who ended up suggesting... The guy who ended up suggesting like the specific spot we went to just didn't end up showing up.
Alex.
And I wasn't going to name any names.
I name dropped.
He name dropped. But basically, like the problem with the place is that we tried to start a fire and there was like no fire to be started. And just kind of like everything kind of snowballed into that, and we weren't able to actually grill. But we'll get into more detail about that. So basically, what ended up happening is we chose like the worst 4th of July spot we could have because
and the leeches. You forgot the leeches.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I know you and your wife are really obsessed with the leeches. You guys are weird. We saw you walking in the lake. And like, did you find any leeches? And your wife's like, we found 3 already. Actually, but anyways, so we all kind of like went our separate ways. We drove kind of on our own. We ended up driving to this like lake, obviously, and it was like a $5 admission per person.
Yeah.
And then, I think Malachi, you want to like talk about like how they had this thing set up? It was like super confusing, like how to pay for it.
Yeah, so you just like take $5 because they assume you have a $5 bill on you.
Right.
You shove it in an envelope and then you stick it in this tiny little post in the ground.
Yeah.
And once you're done with that, you got to take off half the envelope before you put it in. So if you put it in, you're just screwed.
You're on $5.
And you put that in your windshield. And then they probably never check it, but if they do, you're screwed.
Oh, they did?
No, I don't think they do. Honestly, I'll be honest.
I mean, they had the dude out there and his wife all day who were freaking.
That's another story.
Yeah. We need to take that back. Keep going on. My bad. Keep going.
But yeah, so just a little envelope system, and it ended up being like I think we all handed Kody $5 for some reason, and then he put a 20 in there, and so we took 4 envelopes, and they said we paid $5, but there was no money inside, but there was one envelope with $20. So I can imagine, like some government worker, some bureau, thing, trying to like figure it out. Their head probably exploded after that, trying to find the 4. Or the 120 for the 4 5s. But anyways, we start driving in and we park, and there's a lot of sand, so you kind of have to park outside the sand. But Kody has like a little 4-wheel drive, so he kind of went a little bit deeper to where like the water, the front was, and all the sand and stuff. And he started setting up, and then Kody, that's when trouble started for you. That's when the second part of the story Chris was mentioning happened. So what happened there for you?
Okay, so we set everything up on the sand. We're chilling, we're getting the grill started and everything. Next thing we know, we're partying, having a good time. We see this old man in this 4-wheeler drive up, and he kind of like reaches out of his thing and starts like focusing his camera on my car, and we're all like, "Oh, freak! What is this dude doing? What does he even want with us?" And this guy was like, you need to get a flag if you want to park on the sand. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, man. Like, where can I get this flag? And he's like, you gotta go up to the shop. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, my bad. He's like, yeah, whatever, just go make sure you get there. I'm like, okay, bro, calm down. Like, it's not even that serious, So I finally get in the car and I finally drive all the way up. And I'm like, freak, why don't I just like park in the parking lot now at that point? And so we get to the shop and I'm like, bro, so can I honestly just like park in the parking lot? And I'm off the sand. And I was like, nope. If you don't want to get fined, you got to get a flag because you were on the sand. So I'm like, fine.
I didn't know that was.
That was really annoying. So I had to go in there and spend like $18, guys.
On that orange flag.
On that orange flag.
Plus the 20 we already paid.
Yeah, okay, I was pissed at this point, man.
38 holes smacker.
Let me tell you how much I spent on the burgers too.
Oh no.
Either way, this is a lot of money for something that kind of fell down the hole. So I get the flag finally. I'm like, where do you even put this thing? And they're like, you have a Subaru, right? And I was like, yeah. So where'd I put it? They're like, I don't know. Just put it in the window. I was like, fine. I'll just put it in the window. What's the point of asking what car I have? So I put it in the window, and then I drive back. And this whole time, Chris, Malachi, and Mark, I'm sure we're trying to get the grill started.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. You
So,
have
Chris,
it.
why don't you tell us exactly what happened with the grill? Because I actually asked, because you have the portable grill, so I asked you to bring that. So why don't you let us on what happened with that
What do you
grill?
mean on what happened with the grill? You're making it sound like I had something to do with why the grill didn't start. You know for a fact that wasn't.
Why did we start that?
We did have lighter
But you
fluid.
didn't even know before we even got the coal out.
What do you mean? No, we did. I did have lighter
It was
fluid.
the matches that you
I didn't know.
already
No.
had.
We there was a lighter. Was there a lighter?
Right, we were just planning on lighting it with sand.
Apparently.
I was like, I don't know if we have a lighter or not. But yo, at least I had the grill there. The grill, the charcoal, and the lighter fluid. Okay.
Okay, so like it was a charcoal-based grill. Obviously, there was
Yes.
just like little, obviously things of charcoal, and then I'm gonna blame Kody for this one because
What?
so the fire wasn't starting. We had some wood to kind of supplement it as well. At least we tried, and then some matches. Like we're like trying to stay overnight, camp out Boy Scout style.
Yeah.
And then Kody brings like he has this thing of like lighter fluid or something.
That was gas. I always have it.
It was gas, right? Just in case. But the guy brings like literally like fumes, like 6 little droplets probably.
That was my guy Chris here. Chris was all over it.
Okay, so
I
I thought that was Kody. So this is Chris's fault.
The fumes? What fumes? What are we talking about?
The little lighter fluid. There was like nothing in there. It was just a lighter fluid. Even
Well,
though
I grabbed
it
it. Look, it wasn't okay. It wasn't even mine. It was my roommate's, and it was
So
chilling there.
it's Chris's room.
It's Chris. It's my roommate's fault. Okay, because he's always like, yeah, dude, the grill's just there. If you guys want to use it, you can take it whenever. Like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, cool.
failed to mention that there wasn't any lighter fluid at all in that thing.
Bro, you like you could have picked it up and then felt like the lack of weight in the thing. Like this might be a problem.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I did pick it up, but that was literally like 2 seconds before we left because I picked up the bag of charcoal that was sitting next to the grill outside of my
I swear,
apartment.
I wish. If
Okay.
we had known there was no lighter fluid.
I know, true, but I feel like a big part of the problem too was how windy it was that day because that mega sucked. Because when we got there, because the coals also weren't staying hot. That's a thing too. If the coals don't stay hot whenever you're trying to cook on them, then they're not going to light at all, which is a big thing.
I don't know. I think we had some pretty good sand burgers, spitting all that dust out of my mouth. It was real tasty. I really enjoyed the meal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like needless to say, the burger, we're trying to get it lit. We put wood, and then at one point, this is the thing that probably sent me over the edge the most. Is at one point we're like, okay, we're 4 dudes, we can figure this out, and obviously we're like surrounded by sand everywhere. We're like, fire pit, awesome. We have wood. Let's just do it there.
Yeah.
And then we spend like probably
It was
10,
a solid
15 minutes.
10 minutes.
Just 10, 15 minutes, just like being men, right? Digging with our hands, like we don't have shovels, and we're like taking turns. We're taking shifts. We're like, you start digging, and then when they got tired, they're like, you two start digging and whatever. And we're like going at it. And then I don't know who it was. It was one person you invited or someone invited. She walks over and she's just like, she had to have seen us before. She was just chilling in the liquor. She had to have seen us before, just going at it. A pretty solid 5-6 inch hole, maybe, like in the ground. 3-4 inches in diameter, all that good stuff. And like she comes over and she's like, they said no. There's a sign out there that says no campfires. You couldn't have told us that. We all knew that, and we're like, well, dang, what the freak did I do this for? Then we're like sitting there, like we're going to solve our problem. We're gonna do it. We're not gonna just like chicken out. Or, like go, get some Panda Express or something. We're trying to rectify this guy's right? And we're like, we're digging, man. We're living like before the Stone Age. Trying to make our first freaking fire because obviously the fire before that wasn't working. And there's no campfires here. Oh, that sent me so over the edge. We have no idea. We just have to fill the hole, and we knew they were gonna check.
Yep.
The old guy already got at you once for your car. It was something else, and then the leeches happened. Like I don't know. You can tell the story about that. I have no idea what you and your wife were talking about.
No, like we're literally walking in, and we're kind of giving it the benefit of the doubt because the person's like, oh yeah, like that side of the lake's fine, whatever. So we're walking in, you're like, oh, this is chill. Get over the freaking burning sand. You get to the lake, you're like, oh sweet, I'm gonna stick my feet in, and literally like 2 inches from us, there's like 3 leeches just vibing, just like staring at us.
Dang.
So did they come after your feet? Is that what?
Nah, bro, we got out of the sweat.
Are you sure that so they weren't tadpoles?
Nah, bro, they're like this long.
Yo, what?
I can't tell the difference, honestly.
They're like flat iron.
Yeah, they're like black and they look like little flat noodles.
Oh.
Yeah, they were kind of gross. But anyways, those are the only ones we saw because we were like looking out for them on the other side. And luckily there was none, but the water was only like 2 inches deep and it was warm and it was like terrible for a hot day. So
I mean, speaking of feet, I don't know about you guys, but after that whole experience being barefoot, because obviously there was water, the foot sunburns that I sustained over that
was hot.
The sand was so
For no reason either.
incredibly hot. Remember when we
he's
were
probably trying to walk back barefoot.
Oh my God.
Grabs onto the fence and he's like, "Hey, you dirty?"
we were walking back and the sand was balls hot, and so there's certain areas where
it's
the
probably
sand
like 130 surface.
like at least that
We're
right.
probably put the birds on the sand.
It's trying to lit fire.
Put some tinfoil on top, just like no joke. That's how hot it
30
was.
seconds later, it's like microwave. But no fires. The wind won't let that one happen. Oh. But anyways, you were walking back.
It was freaking so. There's like the spot where we're at, right by the water. Right, it was like nice and cool to have your feet on, and then like literally a foot away from where we were, the sand was scalding hot, like lava. But we were walking back and like on the little walk by wherever the cars are supposed to come through in, right? It's all made of sand, and that's one of the spots that are scalding hot. And at first, I was just walking with my shoes in my hand, and I was like, I can man through this, right? Like I can be a man and just walk through this. And literally after taking 3 steps, I could not. I was just hopping through, and I could not bear it anymore. So I literally jumped on the side of the fence, right? Because my feet could not handle it anymore. That's how hot it was.
Oh my
They
God.
were literally burning so bad. I think I'd like probably killed some nerve endings. That's not a joke.
I think kind of the whole experience. I mean, obviously that's not the end of it. There is one like crowning jewel that we haven't got to at the very end. But I think the whole experience. The thing I learned is don't try to be a man, because when you try to be a man, the fire won't start. You dig a hole for nothing, and then Chris gets 3rd-degree burns on his feet.
I swear, if I got blisters, I would be like, that makes sense. You know, if I got like burn marks on my feet, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's how bad it hurt.
Cripple for life. He's like, makes sense.
Yeah, I haven't been able to walk since July 2021 when we wanted burgers on
the scorching
on the
sand.
scorching sand. Our beachfront 4th of July.
In Idaho.
Yeah.
Beachfront Idaho.
Oh my gosh. Like, you would not believe us. That like literally, it was probably like 130, 140, just the sand, and it's been settling there. You know, the sun's like mid-sky, so there's no getting away from it. You know, dry. It's literally a desert. And, you know, that's something you just don't think about. You're just out there vibing. You're by, like, the shore where, like, the thing's a little wet. So it's, like, cool. Literally cool. And then you walk out there, and it's volcano, man.
Hell.
No, you're like Anakin Skywalker. Like, if you were No, like,
I have the high ground.
yeah, you fall over, and then you just lose your limbs and you catch on fire. That's how hot it was. But you know what? The crowning jewel of the whole experience, Kody. This was your friend, so I'm gonna let you take over and tell the story of what happened there.
Say, yeah, we couldn't get any fire, so we couldn't get anything, so we had to leave. We obviously told people that the food was ready.
Yeah, I told them. Freaking Mark yelling. And food's ready. They're like, oh, cool. And then they come out. They're looking. They're like. They're like looking over the
That was so great.
That one chick literally like poked it.
They're like, food's ready, and they're like, what? And they're like, you told us the food was ready. And I was just like, yeah.
I was like, why did you guys believe it?
I straight up lied. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts there. I was just, I was being maybe a little optimistic in the moment, or I just wanted them to feel, a fraction of Chris's pain from the sand.
Right.
But anyways.
So we leave, right? I drive ahead, and everybody else is walking. Freaking Mark takes my shoes.
Yeah, I asked them.
Yeah, I was a nice guy because I was driving in the car, right? So I park because I see that one of our friends is actually stuck. I don't know how this happened because the entrance is super far away from the parking lot, so you had to have gone out of your way to drive into this sand pit.
Around the ramp.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
It was on a decline too, so it was like a decline.
Exactly.
Even the sign that says no vehicle.
So I didn't even realize that they were stuck. I just see them like kind of chilling there by the car, and I drive past and see ya, and I keep driving, and then like I see one of my friends like, wait, stop, and I'm like, freak, okay, what happened? They said we're stuck. So I have to park the car in like in the middle of like some random area, and I have to walk on gravel barefoot. There's a whole bunch of like giant rocks that are stabbing into my foot as I'm walking towards this car that's stuck. And I finally get there, and they're stuck. I don't know how this happened. Their car is just deep in there, and I don't know. They must have been revving the engine.
It was like 3-4 inches, like solid, like their tire, like front left tire, straight up in sand.
The left and the right, the whole front was just in the sand. It was
front wheel drive.
Yeah, which is the most the freaking most. I can't even speak.
Like I feel what you're saying. I just don't know what you're saying.
big fat sucky wookie. That's what it is. It's big fat sucky wookie.
Have you ever heard of a big brain play? That's the opposite of that. Driving your front wheel drive into a pit of sand.
Yeah, exactly.
And then revving the engine again.
We're just getting stuck.
So we pull up and we decided to help him a little bit. We start pushing, and it does not budge at all. And then this old man who took the stinking picture of my car pulls up with his wife.
His wife too. This
looks like you're stuck there. You're gonna have to find somebody to help you. Like, bro, don't you work here?
Like, yeah, big's Captain Obvious. Bro, don't be a dick somewhere else. You know? Like. Oh my.
So this guy drives away after telling us the obvious. And then Malachi stops his family to say, hey, can you help us get this car unstuck? Do you have any tools? And they're like, no, we don't actually have any tools at all. And there's a giant toolbox in the bed of their truck, and they just drive away. So clearly, I just gave up.
I mean, to be fair, would a wrench really? I mean,
Mark's got a point with that one.
Sorry, I got
Who drives a Duramax that doesn't have straps? Okay, right? Let's be honest.
With a lift? What, like?
Sorry, let me get my tow truck out of this little toolbox, attach my straps to it. But, think about it. You guys got a screwdriver? Yeah, you need a Phillips or a flathead. No, you're not getting out with those tools, my guy.
Okay, so I decided, the old man comes back. He's like, you guys gotta buy a rope or something from the store. We're not buying any more money, man.
Do you own the store? Do you profit off of this?
This guy's got a monopoly on this game, dude. He's got 3 little stores, like a gas station.
You're stuck.
You're at a gas store.
I gotta go down to the store.
And just a flag selling store specifically.
My guy posts no sign that you need a flag on that sand and profits off of people not reading things that aren't there. Anyway, so we had the idea, because I still have a whole bunch of firewood from the bonfire we didn't have, and we get the wood and put it behind the wheels of the car.
And then these geniuses put it sideways.
Wait, I was not one of these geniuses. Well, don't
Is that Kody?
We're pushing this car by burning sand up to our freaking thigh.
And you guys didn't realize that Kody put the wood in the right way?
And they put the wood in the way it's holding the car back. They're trying to rev it, and it's got to go up 6 inches to get over the wood.
It wasn't in front of the tire. I thought it could maybe get up a little bit and then get some traction, and then we could use it as I don't know, dude. It was just an idea. I wasn't the one who drove it down there at the very end.
We're gonna pass the blame on somebody. Let's pass the blame. We actually drove into the sand here. Come on now.
The unmentionables.
Sorry, I don't have a master's in physics. My guy, I thought we were gonna eat burgers.
Sorry, I know quantum theory, dude.
We didn't even eat burgers, and now you're judging the wood placement? You figure out the fire the next time, Malachi. Holy crap, bro.
I figured out the wood.
Oh my god. Figure out the fire.
We eventually got the car out of there. And we're like, don't drive this way anymore. Drive the other way, please.
But you're missing the most important part. We had 5 or 6 of us pushing.
We really did.
And then something, I don't know what it was on the car, but it caught on the sand.
That's right.
But it was
on the underside.
Yeah, it's just a cover that protects their undercarriage.
Right? And then that ripped off completely.
I was dragging on the ground like Troy, man. It was crazy.
I think that dug an even bigger hole.
Probably, honestly.
Oh man, but yeah, they drove around and everything was great.
Had them drive in the sand if you wanted an actual hole for our fire pit. Honestly.
Shots fired. And then we would have had to push them the 100 yards the other way.
That's why we could have cooked the burgers on their grill.
Honestly,
on their hood, just
yeah, it's on the hood, huh?
I mean, if they didn't care about their car,
that's true.
At that point,
I
they
mean,
shouldn't.
it was stuck there. What were they gonna do? We might as well just like roll the freaking burgers in
Yeah,
that car.
honestly, make something good out of the situation.
So needless to say, the MVP out of all this of the day was that old dude who made you buy a flag and who said buy a rope. He said, "Sorry, dude, sucks to be you." And I think the best part about that is the old lady who was just laughing.
It really was.
She's like laughing at the whole group. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm here helping push their car out. My car is 60 feet in the other direction, Grandma. Like,
looks like you guys are in a predicament.
Shut up, Karen. Get on my face, dude.
she looked like one of them like old grandmas that would be like a background, like those like yoga videos from the 80s.
Yeah.
One of them, right? Exactly. She'd be like in the back doing like heel toe, or some crap like that. Oh my goodness, it was an experience, but I guess to kind of like so Kody, let's just try to drag a positive out from the day. Let's not just be all doom and gloom here. What's like one positive thing you can think of about that whole experience that you liked? Because obviously,
I mean, honestly,
I'll take credit for the Baja Blast. You're welcome.
Hell yeah! I forgot, dude. That's literally what kept us alive.
That was
the
only good.
Baja Blast.
Honestly, probably dehydrated me. Like 2 Baja Blasts and like 2 like vanilla Cokes.
Scorching in the sun without any water.
Oh man!
I think the best thing out of honestly, like this podcast, while we were sitting there in vain trying to get this like thing lighted, we're just kind of just chilling there around this non-cooking grill like men should be, no fire, really pitiful, really depressing, and we were just talking about random crap, and this is how the idea honestly came about. So I think that's one positive.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, your turn.
Oh, okay, sick. Like Mark said, bro, dude, the Baja Blast. Once again,
come on, go on.
this episode is not sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell, please sponsor Mark. Thank you.
Mark, this is your guys.
Hey, you tried to crap all over Taco Bell last episode. You can't just buy their favorite act.
Once again, Taco Bell, please sponsor us.
Everyone except Kody, even Malachi the guy. That's
Bro, why would I even know
Cody, his name is Kody Christopher Hernandez. Leave him out of the paperwork. Yes. His social is 911.
Mark's FBI agent.
He has an orange Subaru. I think it is a Subaru.
He lives in Rexburg, Idaho. His address is... we did DDoS right now. No. I feel like a good thing at the end of the day, honestly, was... Malachi wasn't there for that, but we actually went back, ate some of the burgers at Cody's apartment instead of... We said F it, went home in the electricity, not the caveman days. And then we played GTA and just like digged around. It was pretty fun.
I think the best part is when my wife got the controller for GTA. She was a straight savage. I know Malachi wasn't there for that, but she doesn't know how to play video games very well. So she got the controller and like walked up to some construction worker and like pulled the crap out of him. That's right. And then just like started kicking him while he was down like 6 times. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my god. Did she commit suicide at the end of that? Like, jump off with that really high beat. She's like, okay.
I waited like 15 minutes just to figure out how to climb up there. It was a good day. Malachi, what's a positive for you out of that whole experience, my guy?
It was just like chill, like we didn't get the burgers at first, but like we were just vibing, like Kody was saying, we just gotta talk and mess around. Like I feel like that was worth it still. Like it was still better than the family party I had to go to after. So.
Really?
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it rolling here. One positive thing that came out of this episode is I met Malachi. He's a cool dude. Too bad he's moving. He's not going to be with us anymore. But also, like the biggest positive is that he gave his wife the little 1-2. The little like you see me here and then you see me there. He got out of the house and was able to do the podcast with us. So I think that's that's how everyone give Malachi a round of applause.
Yeah, a little too much actually.
I don't know, man. It was a good experience. So, another moral of the story is don't go to that specific place on 4th of July. You're not getting your burgers lit.
Vegan Lake.
We should have went to Rigby. I can't believe the one dude who suggested it didn't end up showing up.
It was my idea. I even thought about, okay, let's go to Rigby Lake because they actually have grills there.
What a cut.
So it would have been fine, And he was like, no, you have to pay for that. Let's just go to Rigby Lake.
We
paid anyways. And it was
$38.
my goodness, $18. It's cool. I
Yeah.
have a flag.
Rigby Lake doesn't have leeches either. They have a floating dock that you can literally just go in, you know.
What does that have to do with the leeches? Just asking for
No
a friend?
leeches, bro.
Oh, okay. So you can't
It's
dive
safe.
in the
It
water.
don't have-
Docks protects from leeches because
Exactly.
So does
Leeches
docking.
are afraid from what?
What?
because
Docking.
It's
Look it up.
like garlic for vampires, except dogs for leeches.
Right, dog. They like kiss.
Oh, dude, you know how terrifying it'd be? So, kind of going off the beaten path a little bit before we wrap this up. Remember, like, the series of unfortunate events back in the day? And, like, the leeches in the lake? Like, that movie? That's what I envision it being, like, these, like, hissing leeches that jump out of the boat and try to get you.
I'll play with that, man.
Those freaking those movies was fire.
I forgot
that
about
one?
this movie.
Not the new series. That
Nah,
was
I've
kind
never
of
seen
weird.
My wife liked the new. She watched the new series. I don't watch. I can't, man. It's just I only remember the first movie. Did they come out with more than one?
I don't know, but I remember
I
that
think it's
first
the
one.
one in this series.
Yeah, that first one with Jim Carrey was
Yeah,
A1.
it was good.
Like the steak sauce, baby,
Yes.
which we couldn't have, obviously.
We are
with
not
our burgers that day.
sponsored. We are not sponsored by A1 steak sauce.
But
But we'll still sell out for, we even talked about it before when we were talking about what we should talk about for this podcast. We'll even do White Castle, man. White Castle, please sponsor us.
what do you mean we'll even do White Castle like you're settling? White Castle is ambrosia.
Oh, is it really?
For those who don't know
What's
what that
your
is,
favorite-
food
What's your
for the
favorite thing
gods.
on the menu?
That's kind
The
of
burger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please sponsor us, Mike.
Now Chris is getting it. I think he's understanding. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. 4th of July. Great experience. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Actually, comment this time, guys. Come
Please, don't send me a message or tag me in something on Facebook about my podcast. Just comment on the page, please. I'll definitely appreciate that more.
Sounds
Try to
good.
get the SEO up and whatnot. But,
on.
that'll wrap us up for the 4 guys, 1 mic, guest podcast. So anything else anyone wants to add about that? Or?
I want to shout out my mom. I love you, Mary E. Keep it real.
Thanks for listening, guys. Keep a lookout. We're going to be posting a video in probably the next couple weeks here, actually, which is probably going to be a time to our actual pilot. So, thanks for listening.
Look out for that. And you guys have a good evening. Take care.
Look out for Kody, too.